Welcome to another episode of Coach's Corner. Today, we're pleased to have head baseball coach at Slidell High School, Cam Lewis. For those of you who don't know, Cam is also a football coach, so he's been enjoying that ride the Tigers have been on this fall. Coach, thanks for coming on, man.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
thank you for what you do covering these guys.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Look, guys like you make it easy for sure. You feed us everything we need. You got a great group of kids, so it goes a long way and helps. Before we get to the baseball part, there's a lot I want to talk to you about there, but let's talk about football a little bit. You guys had a huge win last week. I thought it was really important. I talked to Coach Page over the weekend, just kind of a program win, right? Especially, backup quarterback, no bird low in that game, and just fought. And then to me, I think the neatest thing was the defense kind of winning the game with a big interception at the end for you guys, right?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, we talked about it. I felt like it was a full team win. I mean, we did good things in all three phases. So that was good. We had some missed kicks, and the offense picked us up on the next possession. Defense got the stop. The week was adversity, I guess, would have been the key to it, right? You have Stanley playing the backup quarterback spot. Jeremiah's out. Short week, playing on a Thursday, playing at Chalmette, which is not an easy place to go play. So there was a lot to it, man. It was really cool to see the whole group, kind of all three phases. I mean, it was fun. It was a fun atmosphere, a fun game.
Yeah, and look, to add, you guys came off of a loss against a big rival there at home, right, and kind of extended that streak. So huge kudos to you guys, the staff, the players. I talk about this a lot with a lot of other teams that last year, the last 2 weeks of the season were so huge for you guys and continue to fight and play hard. And you kind of see that paying off now just from a program standpoint. So looking forward to that one. And then, huge week of District 7-5A football this week.
Yeah, it's
4-2-1 teams and everybody plays each other. So
I know it's going to be chaos. It's going to be chaos.
It'll be a fun ride. Look, before we get into your World Series that starts today, I want to talk a little bit about last season. And like I told you before, I don't want to lean on that forever. But one of the things that I do want to talk about was your first season there at Slidell. I don't think anybody could ask for more, including yourself. You guys finished the regular season 23-9, 7-1. You made a bunch of noise. For people that don't know, it's scrolling at the bottom, but you end up losing in the quarterfinals to the eventual, state champion Sam Houston team, which looks like they're going to go on a run here for the next few years. So
they're going to be good for a while.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about what year one meant to you and the success that had overall for the program.
I think it meant a lot, man. We came in, brand new staff. The only staff person returning was Coach Langino as the full-time pitching coach. It was kind of his first year being the full-time pitching coach. He had kind of gotten his feet wet working, and then me and Chilton coming in. It was good. The fall for us last year was big in terms of installing everything we want to install team-wise, kind of trying to create a culture, create who we want to be, our identity. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't sunshine and rainbows. It was tough. We had a lot of difficulty doing that. And I think it carried into the season a little bit. I tell people this all the time. We went to the Catholic game 4-6. And, that didn't go our way, ended up 4-7. And then it kind of just flipped the switch from there. Everybody kind of started pulling the rope in the same direction, and kind of all those cliches you use all fall. Like, man, it came together.
Yeah.
The biggest thing was, like, I can't ask for a better group of seniors than I had as a first year coach at the school. Those guys were incredible, and I owe so much to them and what they mean to me and what they mean to the school. Especially, I mean, they had 3 head coaches in their 4 years of high school. So to me, it was more about what they did, not so much what some coach did. They made the plays. They made the things happen and made the season special. I was just thankful to be along the ride for them. It was a good time.
Yeah, well, look, one of the things that was really impressive to me, obviously you had a top end pitcher in Troy, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But, you guys hit the ball at a pace that was different for the entire area. Honestly, it's something that teams have struggled to do in this area for a while. And it wasn't your ability to score runs, but how you scored runs. Extra base hits and home runs went a long way for you guys. I do want you to elaborate a little bit, because we talked in February, March about this guy, and I was like, "Who is this kid?" But Braden Calamari, talk about him and kind of what he was for the program. I'm really looking
He's a
forward to
movie character,
all of
man.
them.
He's not a real person. There's no way he can be a real person. Man, aside from the baseball stuff, man, he's one of the best people that we had in our locker room.
Yeah,
Best human beings, and his parents are great. And you meet him, you want to be around him. I loved Saturday morning practices before the season got going because he was the first one here. He would beat me here sometimes, and the field would be completely set up for practice an hour and a half to 2 hours prior to practice. And regardless of the stats and all that, like that tells you everything you need to know about that kid. And then as the season got going, people want to be infected with what he has, right? Like they want to be that. So you kind of notice more and more guys showing up early, staying late, and having success doing it. And I don't want to say emulating what he's doing, but he was leading people.
yeah.
And he's the vocal leader. It was just completely by example and how he did things and how he went about his job. But man, the end of the season for him was, like I said, it's not real. It was like, it was just like a video game. It was nuts.
Well, look, if people don't know, I know we talked about this, but I had planned a vacation before the season, and we were in Florida at the beach when you guys were playing. What I will always remember the Braden Calamari day for the rest of my life. I'm kind of watching on Game Changer and watching video, and it was I don't know that I'll ever see anything like that again in live action. Two grand slams, one to put you ahead, and then one to win it. So it was
wild. And the crazy part is between them, you have a collision, and this guy's getting his eye stitched up before the second grand slam.
Look, I'm surprised he let you
day.
I'm surprised you even let you stitch him up. He was he's that kind of guy.
Wasn't. Listen, he was not coming out of that. There was no way anybody was going to let him out. He wasn't going to come out of that game. Even if our doctor could have been there and told me he had to, that wasn't happening.
My last comment on him, and we saw what he did at the plate, but I still say for a staff standpoint, what he did on the mound was spectacular for you guys too, because it gave you some ability to eat up some other innings, right? And he did it
absolutely
at a very high pace.
Yeah, he did it. And thinking really in district in the playoffs, man, he took so much pressure off our relief pitchers by being able to go 6 innings, get it over to the back end of the bullpen. Usually it was Burdette. And then, you go into I go to the Zachary series, he goes out and wins game 1 and you get to go to game 2 with Troy Green on the mound. You feel great. And he allowed us to do that each and every time. And it wasn't always perfect. In the beginning of the year, he was, kind of grinding it out. He's an everyday catcher. So like his toughness was unbelievable. And he did such a good job of taking care of his body and taking care of his arm and being ready to go when the moment was called for. But man, what he did just all the way around, just kind of, and really all of our starters did that, like getting depth into games and not having early exits to where, you make a plan at the beginning of the week on how you want to use arms for the week. We were blessed to be able to stick to that plan 90% of the time.
Yeah, that pays off for sure at the end, and not have to pull kids and eat up innings where you didn't want to. One of the things I do want to elaborate on is Troy. I thought he had one of the best seasons on the North Shore in quite a while, and not to overlook Carson Milosevic over at North Shore. He obviously was on a different level of consistent, right? He's a bot for sure, is what the kids say. He's a robot. But talk to me a little bit about Troy. And the reason I say this, I talked to Coach Benoit last week, and we talked about Sam Mars. And Sam went summer. He was kind of sick, kind of low mid 80s and bumping 90 here, in the fall. Talk about that springboard that Troy kind of made a similar jump right before his senior season.
Yeah. So I remember seeing him when I was at Fontainebleau with Coach Nolan. We faced him here, and I think he was 85 to 86. We kind of get here on campus in August. I get the kids together. We start lifting, and the strength gained by Troy from August to December was huge. I think his squat max went up close to 100 pounds, maybe 80. And then you saw the jump. You saw the jump in the fastball. And I think that was what it took. Like the stuff was there. The mechanics were there. The pitchability was there. The mindset was there. But the weight room kind of, I think, just carried it a little over the top. And, man, it was electric. It was just fun to watch.
Yeah, no, he was, and he was a box score eater every night. We posted if he wasn't pitching, he was doing it at the plate.
Hmm.
He's great. We'll see how long LSU can hold on to him because I
Yeah,
think he's got an exciting future ahead of him for
I do
sure.
too.
Look, let's move into your World Series. Tonight's game one. If it holds up to anything like Major League Baseball's World Series, it'll be the best ever on the North Shore. But that was a wild 7
Well, I
games.
can
But
promise you we're not playing 18 innings. I can promise you that.
I know you better than that, my man.
Game one's going to end in a tie before we go play 18 innings.
Look, one thing I want you to do, if you could, it's Team James against Team Smith. I know what that means, but expand a little bit on your coaching staff. I think you've got a phenomenal staff. I think there's so many of those on the North Shore, but some of those guys don't get the credit they deserve. Talk about your staff kind of as a whole.
Yeah, so I'll go back to last year's staff, man. With Chilton, that was such a good hire, and you talked about offensively how we went about things, man. That's 100% Coach Nathan Chilton. What he did with our hitters and mindset wise, and working with them every day, kind of led to that. Thankful for him. Super excited to see he got a job at the college level, going back to his alma mater. And then Coach Smith being at Salmon last year, being able to get him over here. So excited with that, man. He's such an energy guy, good dude. The kids love him. They all knew him already, so it wasn't really this big transition of meeting a new guy. And just, man, having another head coach in the dugout is huge. Just because he's been through it and the situations and all the stuff that's outside of safe and out, balls and strikes, like that's a good person for me to have and lean on and learn from him as much as hopefully he's learning from me. We just kind of bounce things off each other a lot. So that's fun. I'm excited to see him run a team. And then Coach Tyler James, this is where I guess I'm an old man again, like a former player from Mandeville that I had. I think he was on my JV team when I coached for Coach Wine Munson. He moved to us. He was at Episcopal last year. I'm excited, man. He's a good guy, good baseball mind. Kids love him. He's young. I think that is probably the biggest thing with Coach Smith and Coach James. They're both young guys. They connect with the kids so well. Where maybe I get to be more of the grumpy old man, I guess. But man, I'm excited to watch these two go at each other. And it was kind of one of those things where we drafted the teams, and they kind of looked at me and was like, "Yeah, you stay away. Like, you just sit back and watch. Like, let us have it." I said, "Okay, here we go." Like, I'm excited to watch them two in action against each other, and it kind of allows me to just sit back and I don't want to say not. Just focus on everything. Like I get to be able to see it all and not be so much worried about not so much into the game, but making a call during the game. I can kind of see how we're executing it and in certain situations and see what those two like and what they are trying to find in their own identity as a coach, and how that can help our guys be even better come February.
Yeah, and I think sometimes as a coach, stepping back, right, getting off the field and getting to see that in a little different pace, it pays off in the long run for sure. When it comes to some decision making and what you see in kids that you might not while you're in game coaching, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got both those guys that are going to run their teams, and then Coach Langino is going to be the pitching coach for both teams. So it's kind of cool, man. Just all of us are going to be out there together, and just couldn't have asked for a better day. It's beautiful outside. So
I love, yeah, the weather's gorgeous. It's prime fall baseball weather for sure. I see Buchholz is throwing tonight. He's one last year that I was kind of high on. He didn't do anything flashy, but really hit his spots, threw off speed stuff really well. Kind of kept batters, off balance. Talk about him a little bit. Kind of going into this season is really the guy that's probably got the most experience inning wise for you guys, right?
He has the most experience. I mean, I would say he was if you want to put a number on it, number 3 last year. Like if we'd have gotten to a game 3 in any playoff series, he would have been the starter. He had some starts. I think he had a 1-0 win against Chalmette during district, was kind of the biggest start that I kind of remember from last year for him. And he just commanded, I think 6 2/3 was what it was, or 6 1/3, to get a huge district win on the road there. But I'm excited for him, man. He's gotten a little bigger, put on some weight. Fastball's playing a little better. But yeah, I really want to see him kind of take the lead of our pitching staff, and kind of command that. So he's the guy with the most experience. He's the guy with the most in-game, whether it's a start or relief. I think he had 7 or 8 starts last year. So I'm excited for him to get the start tonight and kind of see if he can get his group off to a fast start, moving into a 3-game series.
No, that's great. Well, Coach, we'll get you out of here on this one. Lastly, tell us a little bit about your fielders and kind of what you're looking like on the hitting side. You don't have to be specific on a player, but kind of what the approach is this year versus last year. I mean, you had some
Yeah.
big strong kids last year,
Yeah,
right?
we graduated a ton of guys. So right now, and we have a lot of position battles. I mean, we returned Sergio Satillo at second base last year. He'll be competing for a shortstop spot. With Brandon Maris, who was out for injury last year, he's another senior of ours. Xavier Paul's returning. Outside of that, those are our returning starters from last year. So we have a great group of position players that have been competing the last 5 weeks. So now it's kind of cool to split them up and see them go head to head. And we've done some inter squads, but not everything's kind of been real controlled. Now it's just skin it back and let them play ball against each other and see where it goes. I think depth wise, we have better depth this year as far as pure numbers and guys that I feel like, man, I don't want to say I can trust, but you get out there and they're making the plays and things like that. So there's going to be some good competition. It's not going to be easy to write a lineup, I feel like.
Well, look, that's a good problem, right?
That's a great problem.
Every coach you ask, everybody's got their different philosophies. I love the idea of position battles and kind of having some of that throughout fall. And I think that helps you as a program as a whole when you've got some of that competitive balance going on, right? Lastly, Coach, tell everybody that's watching a little bit about your World Series and kind of what that'll entail, and encourage those folks to get out there and encourage.
Yeah, so we do a 3-game series, and it's kind of different. I stole this from Coach Benoit over at Mandeville. But we do a 3-game. Today we'll play. Wednesday at 3:00 we'll play, and then Thursday night at 6 we'll do a night game. We did that last year. The kids loved it. The stands were full. So it's just kind of cool to have that real legit game day atmosphere in November. And it was electric. I think last year's World Series, maybe it was game 2 or whatever the night game was, ended on a walk-off single from a freshman. Like nobody saw it coming, and it was fun. It was exciting. So kind of why we wanted to do the night game. The kids loved it, man. And I think it's big that we're getting to do it and kind of have the game day operation done. So like the young guys, the new guys, I mean, we have 16 freshmen so that they know what a game day looks like. They know, all right, first pitch is at 3:00. We're doing this at this time, this at this time. Here's what the post game looks like. If we have a 6:00 game, this is what it looks like. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, we play game 1 today, and game 3 is Thursday, or game 2's Wednesday at 3, and game 3 is Thursday at 6. So, and kind of something different to make sure that game 3 is, important. We're going to do, instead of just 3-game series, every game will be the whole series will be like cumulative score.
Yeah.
So that way, you lose game 1, kind of 5 or 6 runs. Well, guess what? You start game 2 down 5 or 6, and you got to grind back in and try to find a way to win it in game 3, So I'm excited about that format to see how it works. Last year we did a 3-game series, and of course it was 1-1 going into game 3, so that was awesome. But I'm excited about it.
No, that's great. Well, look, folks, if you can get out to Slidell tonight, great organization, great program. Coach, I have hats off to you. I get to see a lot of programs, and what's neat is I think everything matters to you. The weight room, the field condition, the uniforms, what the boys do outside of school, and probably in my mind, it all matters more than what they do on the field, because that's just a product of what they do every day and how they carry themselves. So you see that from afar in your program. So kudos to you. And lastly, good luck on Friday night. I'm excited for the entire District 7-5A. And look, Fontainebleau's going to Mandeville, and Fontainebleau's a team that can win any night, right? So it's been a great football season. I'm sure you're ready for a playoff run and get this baseball stuff behind you.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm excited to wrap up the fall with these guys and then hit it Friday night and see what we can make shake in the playoffs on the football side. So.
Well, that's great. Coach, once again, thank you for joining us. Coach Cam Lewis, head baseball coach at Slidell, also special teams for football, Coach Page and that group. But best of luck to you guys tonight. Have fun, stay injury free, and we'll talk to you soon here, Coach.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you having me on, man. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you, brother.
All right, bye-bye.